Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Allan.P. Welcome back to Reacting to Videos in the Streets. Today, without any waste of time, we're going to react to a clip of me being interviewed on That Husband podcast. I did an interview with That Husband podcast about a month ago, and the episode aired last week, Wednesday. And after it aired, I think it did very well. It's doing very well, currently doing very well. Today, I'll be reacting from this clip that sparked a lot of, not controversy, but different takes on the comment section on Instagram. I have been trying to avoid some of these comments on Instagram, and I've been doing a good job. I saw some there and there, and hence I thought we should react to it. Anyway, without any waste of time, That Husband is a podcast that is growing wonderfully, led by my friend Black Newborn, who is a speaker and a pastor, a man of God. And I think he's doing such a great job just championing husbands or championing great husbands and helping those that are not yet great husbands become great. So we're just gonna watch the clip and then I'll just give you my takes on it. Let us go. My wife gave birth to my firstborn son.
Yeah.
She gave birth at 3:15 Sunday morning, right? We were at the hospital, held my boy, boom, 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 boom. Sharp, say you need to bounce. Cool. I bounced, went home, bathed, went to church.
Come on, man.
Led worship there, leading worship. While I'm leading worship, the phone is on the stand of the keyboard. I see the message, come pick me up now.
Yeah.
Okay. She didn't actually say, come pick me up now. I think there I was just too excited to be in the conversation. My wife is very kind towards me. She didn't say, come pick me up now. She actually used somebody else's phone to call me because her phone had died. And she sent a SMS. I don't remember what it said, but I think it was along the lines of, I have just been discharged or something like that. Anyway, let's carry on. Can't answer now.
Yeah.
Like, kill it, push. As soon as the pastor started preaching, got out. So I was that guy.
Man.
I was so heavily involved in my church that when I get involved like that, I don't pay attention to what everything else on the side. And I think, again, because of my naivete when I got married, like church was number one instead of number two. Somebody voiced their comments or typed their comment and said, God should be number one. Yes, I know. But in the context of church and my wife, I found myself placing church number one and my wife was number two. And this was not a conscious decision. This was just the reality of what I was in at the time. But I'm gonna back what I was saying up. And we're going to cover some things. Anyway, let's carry on. So my number one, which was my wife, became number two.
Man.
I remember there was like, my wife was a children's church teacher. And I remember one time there was like a kids thingy on a Saturday. And my wife was not feeling well at the time. I don't remember what was the issue, but I know that work was hectic. She had a rough week. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere Saturday. What I should have said was, yes.
Yeah. Stay at home.
Take some rest.
Rest. Yeah.
And you need it, you know. What I said was, you made a commitment
to the house of the Lord.
You said you're going to serve.
Yeah.
You are not serving.
Yeah.
There's a disconnect.
Sure.
You might have not put it in those words, but you get what I'm saying. That's one of the biggest fights we've ever had.
Sure.
And my oldest walked in and saw my wife crying.
How old was he at that point?
At the time, he is now turning 10. He was 5.
Okay.
And he remembers that one.
Sure.
Because he saw his mom. So he wasn't 5, he was 4. He was actually 4 years old. Let's carry on. His mom crying for the first time.
Man.
And I remember my wife saying that sometimes I feel like you love the church and pastor more than me. I was like, yo, that's one of the statements that after saying it, I'm like, I don't think I should have mentioned that one because it was very personal. But my wife watched the full podcast, by the way. If you just reacting or writing your comment based on that clip alone, I really don't know what to say to you. But anyway, let me go back a little bit. Feel like you love the church and pastor more than me. I was like, flip, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I still had to leave and go be at the church. I'm like, I'll see you when I get back. We'll continue when I get back. But yeah, that changed the entire way I looked at ministry and family.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So go out and watch the full video on YouTube. I'll link the video. I think before I carry on, the title that they put there is How Church Almost Ruined My Marriage. And I think a lot of people's concern was the title. And to a degree, I think I get where they are coming from, because the title can be somewhat misleading, because it places a notion that the church forced me to behave the way I was behaving, and hence the church didn't care about my marriage. And that's not at all what I was talking about. By the way, this is not a podcast for churches. This is a podcast for husbands who are failing forward, as Black always says. And I was just being vulnerable, sharing a vulnerable moment in my marriage where I missed the mark. And people chose to overlook that. There are people that actually saw where I was coming from and the statement that I was making. But there are people that focused on the title and overlooked everything that was said and just focused on the title. And I get that. And I'll tell you why in a second. So as you can see, this clip was edited, it was cut in short, as that's what we do when we promote a video. And I think it was well done. When I saw the title of the video, I was like, okay, that's an interesting take, but that's not what I was going for. And then I saw just comment upon comment upon comment upon comment. The title is misleading. The title is misleading. The podcast even responded to some of the comments. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna bounce. I'm not gonna be a part of this. So I think I replied to one comment and then liked the other ones. Excuse me. Guys, church didn't almost ruin my marriage. However, my commitment to church almost ruined my marriage. And I think ruin is a very hyperbolic statement, because I don't think my marriage was hanging in the balance because of that statement that my wife made. But it did really bring an awakening that was needed. I'll provide some context, right? So we were married very young. I was 21, my wife was 20. I've said this a whole bunch of times in other videos. I state in the podcast that now, in retrospect, I can fully say that we were young and dumb. Now I can say fully we were young and naive. We just wanted to be together. And I'm not going to place any blame on anybody or any church or anything. However, there were leaders we looked up to in the church that probably could have helped us navigate our marriage better, which wasn't the case. We had great examples of great marriages in that church that we used to attend. However, there was an imbalance when it came to choosing between serving the church and serving your family and serving your wife and kids. And nobody had discipled me to teach me that this is what comes first and this is what comes second. So for the longest time, I started serving at this church when I was 16. So for the longest time, it was school, church. And then after I finished school, I took a gap year, not because I wanted to take a gap year, but because there were no funds to take me to university. So what I did was I did ministry. So when I did ministry, my wife and I were not an item. We were not friends. We knew each other from church, but we were not close. And all I did was ministry. And now, so I finished matric when I was 17. And straight after matric, I took a gap year. I'm 18. 18, I do hospital ministry. I'm doing prison ministry. We're going to schools. We're preaching to kids in schools. We're doing street evangelism. We're doing soul winners, what we used to call soul winners. When I was 18, that's what I was busy doing. 19, I not meet my wife, but my wife and I start dating. And she's now part of the same church and we go to the Bible school together. So that's what we were into. And I remember telling her, said, man, this thing comes first. And remember, we kids. I'm 19, she's 18. And I'm like, yeah, church comes first. If we need to hang out and there's something that's happening at church, I'm going to go at church. I'm going to go to church rather. And whatever we're doing will have to wait. If we plan to chill, it will have to wait. So when we went into our marriage, this is the mentality that I was in. And my wife got it. My girlfriend at the time, she got it. So anyway, we're moving. This is how we're moving with life. 20, I realized at the age of 20, I'm like, man, I want to marry this chick. And we just want to be together. And my parents were not fully for it. My dad, we had, now I understand why my parents were not fully for it. Like I said, I was young and dumb. But again, that young and dumb decision is one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life, because my wife, after receiving Jesus as my Lord and Savior, is the best thing that has ever happened to me. And then, yes, my kids as well. But she is like one of the best gifts from God. Anyway, I need to call her after this. Cut the long story short, we get married at 21. The only pre-marital counseling we did was telling the pastor that we want to get married, our pastor at the time. And I wanted to hear his thoughts. And I respected this man so much that if he would have told me, nah, wait 5 years, I would have waited. Because what he told us was, okay, can you wait a year? We're like, yeah. He said, are you here to listen? Are you here to talk? Or are you here to listen? We're like, Prophet, we are here to listen. And Prophet said, I think you guys should wait a year. If that man said, wait 5 years, I would have waited. And at that time, it didn't matter what my parents would have said. I was going to do what I wanted to do. But there was a role that the prophet played in our lives. And this is the mistake that we make sometimes in churches, where we place the pastors above our own parents and we disregard what our parents advise us and we go with what the pastor or the prophet advises. Anyway, I'm not coming for the church. This is my story. I'm just coming to you with where I was at. So what the prophet had to say had more weight than what my parents had to say. And saying that now, I feel embarrassed. I feel like, man, that was a horrible thing to do. The point I was trying to make is that we didn't get premarital counseling. The only counseling we got was wait a year. And I remember the pastor asking my wife, are you sure? Because this guy is very emotional. Can you handle that? And I was there like, damn, I'm not that bad, pastor. I ain't that bad. And that's the only counseling we got. We were never told about the love languages. We never did a marriage class. We didn't do anything. So we entered into this thing blindly, watching the others that also got married young, who seemed to make it work. And I think now, in retrospect, like I can boldly say, premarital counseling is very essential. If my son were to come at 21 saying he wants to get married, I won't stop him. But me and him are going to have a long chat. And if I have to find a class that he needs to attend and maybe create that class myself, then that's what I'm going to do. We get married. And then the first year of our marriage is us trying to win or make it as a married couple. We're basically trying to do it the right way. We're trying to love each other the right way. We're trying to be intimate the right way. We're trying to be husband and wives the right way. We're trying to be servants at the church or at the house of God the right way. Because if you remember, I told my wife, I'm like, dude, for me, if nothing comes in between me and my serving comes first. And I had no clue, or I had no foreknowledge that actually, no, now that you get married, your wife comes first. Like I said in the podcast, because of my naivete, I think that's why I went that direction. To anybody that has thoughts or comments and say, there's one person on TikTok that said, she said, and my sister, this guy doesn't love you. I was like, wow. My wife was the one telling me about that one. And we were both laughing. Thank God my wife was laughing. So thank God my wife doesn't get offended easily by comments. Me, on the other hand, I say all that to say, man, lay off that husband podcast in the comment section of Instagram. Like, stop it, like for real. And if you don't have anything nice to say, move right along, bro. Because we are here sharing our vulnerable moments, vulnerable stories, and you just here being jerks. But anyway, I'm not touched. I'm not, hey, comment away. I don't really care. I don't even read them. Anyway, I read a few. So I'll say this before I close. That fight that we had, where my wife was like, sometimes I feel you like the pastor and the church more than me, was a very sad revelation to me, and it was exciting. Exciting because when something is exposed, then we can deal with it. At that time, I was so much in autopilot that you wouldn't have convinced me otherwise. If my pastor would have called, me and my wife would be chilling, watching a movie. This is another vulnerable moment, I guess. Deciding, okay, today we're not doing anything, we're just watching a movie. If my pastor were to call before that revelation that my wife gave me, I would have dropped everything and went and served my pastor. I would have dropped everything. And some people that say, yeah, no, it's priorities. You must decide. Y'all pretend like you don't know how things are in these churches. Y'all pretend like you don't know that sometimes you'll be called and you need to drop everything to go assist the pastor. And the day I say, no, I can't, then I'm the bad guy. It's easy having opinions when you are not in it. When you are in it, it's something else. Because when you're serving the church, or I'll speak on my behalf, when I was serving my church at that time with worship, graphic design, whatever, I did it as if I was doing it unto the Lord. And I think that's still the mentality that I still have, that every Christian should have. When you serve your church, you're not serving people, you're serving God. Yes, you're serving people in the physical, but ultimately you're serving God. You're serving them as if you were serving the Lord. And that was the mentality. But I didn't know that there was an imbalance between that and my family. And you get so caught up in serving your church that even when it's time to spend time with your family and you're called, you feel like you saying no would be a disservice not only to the church, but to God. Like, I don't know how to stress that. When you are needed at church and you feel like saying no, you feel like not only am I doing a disservice to the church, I'm doing a disservice to God. And I just want to please God. I want to please God. Nah. Me, I just want to please God in everything that I do. I want to please God in my marriage. I want to please God in my parenting. I want to please God in my serving of His people. And for the longest time, I had the mentality that it's God's work first, your family second. Not understanding that my family is God's work. My family is my ministry. My wife and my kids, they are first priority, because tomorrow I will have to account because they are under my responsibility. I will have to account if my kids don't eat because they are under my responsibility. I will have to account for my wife because I'm the one that bothered her family and said, hey, give me your daughter. I'll take care of her. I will have to account. I now understand that. Well, I've been understanding that for a while. That only happened like a while ago. Before you have an opinion about a YouTube short or Instagram reel or TikTok, please go watch the full video. That is what I do. With these reaction videos, I go and watch the full thing and then come back and react to a certain portion of that video. Anyway, the video is amazing. The podcast was awesome. Go and check it out. Like I said, it's doing very well. God's hand is on the podcast itself. And man, I just want to tell that husband podcast, Black Newborn and the team, Grace, Lily, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Keep doing what you're doing. We are watching, we are proud, and we are glad, some of us, to be invited and to be a part of this groundbreaking movement, which is That Husband podcast. With that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. Please do me a favor. Please subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to get to 500 subscribers, and then from there we'll figure out how to get to 1,000. Please like the video so that YouTube can share it or can put it on people's FYPs. Please like it. Please share it with anybody that needs to hear it or see it. If you like the video as well, please like. Yeah, I already said like it. If you don't like it, you can hit the dislike. It's fine. It's up to you. I don't really care. It's your boy Allan.P. Of course, you know, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.